Have you ever wondered why the price of a loaf of bread has changed over the years? This is the enigma of inflation, a concept that fundamentally alters our comprehension of economic dynamics. When we trace back to the genesis of economic thought, we find the discovery of inflation as a pivotal turning point. Inflation, in essence, is the rate at which the general level of prices for goods and services is rising, and subsequently, purchasing power is falling. To dissect this enigma, economists employ mathematical tools. The Consumer Price Index, a statistical estimate constructed using the prices of a sample of representative items, serves as a measure of inflation. Meanwhile, the inflation rate, the percentage increase in the price level from one period to the next, provides a snapshot of the economy's health. These tools allow us to navigate the labyrinth of financial complexities, revealing the interplay between the value of money and the cost of living. Inflation, a seemingly invisible force, silently shapes our economy. Let's take a loaf of bread, a staple of many diets worldwide. In the early 20s, you could walk into a grocery store and pick up a loaf for a few cents. Fast forward the years, and that same loaf now costs us several dollars. That's inflation in action, the subtle but consistent increase in prices over time. But what does this mean for the everyday person? Well, inflation impacts your purchasing power. If your income doesn't keep up with inflation, then, over time, you'll find you can't buy as much with your money. It's like running on a treadmill that's slowly speeding up. You have to work harder and harder just to stay in the same place. This can lead to a decrease in the standard of living. As more of your income is spent on necessities, less is left over for everything else. It's a silent thief, stealing away your buying power bit by bit. However, not all product segments are affected equally by inflation. Some have managed to resist the inflationary tide. Think about technology. The price of a computer or a smartphone has remained relatively stable over the years, while their capabilities have skyrocketed. On the other hand, some segments have not been so lucky. Take housing and education, for instance. Their prices have ballooned over the years, far outpacing the general rate of inflation. This disparity between product segments can exacerbate economic inequality. Those who can afford to invest in technology and other inflation-resistant sectors can protect their wealth. Meanwhile, those who spend a larger portion of their income on inflation-prone necessities like housing and education find themselves falling further behind. Inflation does not exist in a vacuum. It is a global phenomenon, influenced by a myriad of factors. Picture this. Political instability breaks out in a major oil-producing country. This disrupts the supply chain, causing oil prices to surge. Higher oil prices mean higher production costs for companies, leading to increased prices for consumers. This, in essence, is inflation in action. Natural disasters, too, can trigger inflation. Imagine a severe drought in a country that is a key exporter of wheat. The scarcity of wheat drives up its price, making bread, pasta, and other wheat-based products more expensive. Again, this is inflation, born from the rhythm of the Earth's unpredictable climate. Pandemics, as we've recently experienced, can also play a part in this global dance. The sudden halt of production and disruption of supply chains can lead to a shortage of goods. This scarcity can drive up prices, causing inflation. Now let's consider the ebb and flow of the economy. During an economic boom, people have more money to spend. This increased demand can push prices higher, leading to inflation. Conversely, in a recession, demand falls as people tighten their belts. This can lead to lower prices and potentially deflation. Central banks around the world have a mandate to manage inflation. They use tools like interest rates and monetary policy to keep inflation dancing to a tune that won't upset the economic balance. Forecasting inflation is almost akin to predicting the weather, complex and ever-changing. As we delve into the intricate mechanisms of predicting inflation, it's essential to remember that this is not an exact science, but rather a game of probabilities and educated guesses. One of the most popular tools in the economist's arsenal is the Phillips curve. Named after the economist A.W. Phillips, this model illustrates an inverse relationship between unemployment and inflation. In simple terms, as unemployment decreases, inflation tends to rise. While the Phillips curve has seen its fair share of criticism, it continues to be a useful tool for policymakers, providing a framework for understanding the potential trade-offs between unemployment and inflation. Another key tool for predicting inflation is time series forecasting. This technique relies on historical data, using patterns and trends from the past to predict future inflation rates. From the autoregressive integrated moving average model to more complex machine learning algorithms, Time series forecasting has evolved into a powerful tool in the hands of economists and data scientists. However, these models are not foolproof. They're based on the assumption that past patterns will continue into the future, an assumption that can sometimes lead us astray. Just as the weather can change in an instant, so too can economic conditions. Unexpected events, from political upheaval to global pandemics, can disrupt even the most carefully crafted forecasts. Yet, despite these challenges, these models serve a crucial role. They help economists and policymakers anticipate inflationary trends, allowing them to prepare for potential impacts on the economy. They guide decisions on interest rates, monetary policies, and fiscal strategies, helping to maintain economic stability in an uncertain world. As we navigate the tumultuous seas of the global economy, these models are our compass, guiding us towards a future where we can mitigate the effects of inflation and ensure economic prosperity for all. Predicting inflation is not about seeing the future, but understanding the patterns of the past and the present. As we continue to refine our models and hone our forecasting skills, we move closer to this understanding, one data point at a time. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to SciSips.